That's good. Man dictionary.
Man dictionary.
That was a good idea. Whoever came up with
Yeah, it was.
displayed it on the screen.
What is onomatopoeia? It's like a grammar term, right?
I think it's that cone that holds all the fruit and stuff at Thanksgiving.
That's cornucopia.
Yeah.
I think it means like a word that.
It's a sound word.
You don't know either.
Yeah.
Cow is an onomatopoeia.
Yeah. A word that makes.
You're supposed to be like, I don't know either, so we don't feel bad.
It could be
About
I'm going to tell
ourselves.
you the time I legitimately called 911. Now you're telling me.
Like reverberate is an onomatopoeia.
No, it's not. No,
What?
not even
words
close.
that are
Batman
sounds.
sounds.
Pow. Ouch.
Well, what is reverberate?
Reverberate is a. You think? Are you telling me that you think reverberate is what it is because it sounds like what it does? Reverberate.
Buzz. Buzz is a
Buzz. Yes.
But a word that sounds like what it does. Yeah, reverberate.
What? Are you being? You're being stupid on purpose, right?
How do you spell onomatopoeia?
It can't be you can't have a four syllable.
Can you
word.
look that up while we talk about something else? Because I don't even know how to spell it.
Slap.
Why did you
Whap.
reverberate? Reverberate is something. There's a word for what reverberate is, and I can't remember it right now.
Reverberate. It just happens to sound like what it's referring to.
Reverberate. Yeah, there's a term for that that's not onomatopoeia,
Okay.
and I want to know what that term is.
Now you're telling I've told this story before. I don't think I've told it the time that I actually legitimately called an ambulance, called 911, and an ambulance showed up at my home.
Okay.
Listen up, kids. So, my when I was a kid, I suffered from febrile seizures, which is a fever-induced seizure.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going. with this.
And my two sons both inherited this from me. And this basically means that when you get a fever when you're a child, before you turn like 3 or so, typically grow out like from 3 to 5. My kids both grew out of it around 3.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a fever and there's a spike in the fever, then you have a seizure. And sometimes it's isolated to like, they're always unconscious, basically frozen, and then there's like something shaking. Sometimes this is like a full like grand mal seizure. Sometimes it's just like they freeze up and like part of their face twitches or whatever. I knew about this condition because we had talked about it with my mom, but I hadn't thought of it since I had my kid Locke, and when he was like 1.5 or 2, probably 18 months old, we were in our house, and all of a sudden, like we were trying to give him some children's ibuprofen or Tylenol or something like that because he had a fever.
Mm-hmm.
And like as we were giving him the medicine, he like, I could like see it on his face, like he just like lost contact and was just like shaking, and like his lip he was like freezing up. And I was like, at that time I had no idea what was happening. I wasn't like, oh, this is a febrile seizure. I was like, I hadn't thought about that. I was like, my kid is dying, is what I thought. And I was like, immediately called 911, like within the first minute. And I was on the phone with the operator while he was having a seizure. And
Did you put your hand in his mouth? Or was his face not shaking? Like he wasn't going to bite his tongue?
He wasn't going to bite his tongue. So Jesse like held him while he like continued to like seize for like, I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes. It was very long.
Oh, gosh.
Which is a very long time. Feels like 10 minutes. It felt like 7 to 10 minutes, but it was probably 2 or 3
Yeah,
minutes.
and when it's your kid, that's the worst thing ever.
And the paramedics showed up within 7 minutes of the phone call. Like the ambulance was there, coming in, and then they were like, he was back by that point, and he was like real tired. And he was like coming back,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, okay, it looks like he just had a seizure. We're not gonna take him in or anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, you don't need to take him in. It's not an emergency situation right now. And then we just ended up like taking him to the doctor or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, he's got these febrile seizures. They're harmless. They're really scary, but they're harmless. He had like 2 or 3 more.
What is it that's actually happening? Do you remember?
It's the way that their bodies deal with the spike and the fever is by seizing. It's the way it dissipates heat. And Shepard had one. He had one when he was like two.
One, just one.
Yeah, Locke had 3 or 4. I had 1. Shepard had 1. But yeah, but it was, you know, it was a good experience.
What's happening anatomically that would help, like your body shutting down.
But it was a good experience with 911 because they were there. So, I mean, the ambulance was there with less in single digits, you know, single digits. They were there. So even if it had been like choking, God forbid, like a choking situation, they might even have been able to be there in time.
Well, you know, there's a Public Enemy song called 911 is a joke.
In my town. Right, because if you're in
Get up and get down, 911 is a joke in my town.
Right, because if you're in a highly crime-ridden area, they get called all the time. So it's not like, you know, resources. They don't have as many resources.
And I don't think he, I think he did rap about that level of, well, it was Flavor Flav, so he said it in his own way, but I think that's what he was getting at.
And my wife did call 911 because of a squirrel. We've talked about that. She acknowledges that was a mistake. But she called 911 to get connected to animal control. I will clarify. She thought you could call 911 and they would say police, fire, rescue. And she said animal control when she called. And they said, we don't connect with animal control. And she was like, okay, sorry. There's a squirrel in my house, but I understand I shouldn't be talking to you about this.
How's your day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Flavor Flav also had a reality show where
The Flavor of Love.
a lot of women tried to date him. 911 is a joke is a 1990 song by American hip-hop group Public Enemy from their third album, Fear of a Black Planet. It was released as a single and became a hit. The song is about the lack of response to emergency calls in a black neighborhood, but specifically references the poor response by paramedic crews and not the police, which is a common misconception regarding the track. The 911 in the title of the song refers to 911, the emergency telephone number used in North America.